Hello, and welcome back to the What They Said Influencer Marketing Podcast. My name's Sammy. As ever, I'm your delectable host. I love this, and it gets me out of bed every Wednesday when I come to the studio and record with some wonderful guests that have got far more to say, far more eloquently than I do. We hope. So today, I'm really excited to be joined by Millie Allen, who is joining us from Ocean Bottle. Welcome, Millie, to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Millie, could you tell us a little bit about what you do, what your role is, and how long you've been at Ocean Bottle for?
Yes, definitely. So I'm head of marketing at Ocean Bottle. I joined a year ago today.
Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. So I look after the full marketing function at Ocean Bottle. So that includes influencers, includes PR, the organic channels, so social and email, as well as our brand and creative strategy.
So you're busy?
Yeah. Oh, and also our B2B, which is a huge portion of our revenues actually coming from B2B channels, so corporate as well as distributor and wholesale.
Amazing.
too.
So you've got that full integrated look over everything.
Yes.
So you're very busy,
Yes. Yeah.
but not stressed out.
No, never. No.
Go with the flow.
Yes.
I also want to caveat that Millie is Australian.
Oh, yeah.
We had a fun chat yesterday, and you said you've completely lost your Australian accent, but I'm hoping it sort of emerges at random intervals throughout the podcast.
Yeah, you didn't even know I was Aussie, which makes me really sad.
But actually, more time I spend with you, I'm hearing it come through.
Good. I feel like I need to seed that in, that
Yeah.
I'm actually Australian, and I'm trying to, I've unintentionally lost it.
And I'm also a real millennial / chameleon, so I will, and an empath. So actually, I will just inherit whatever accent you finish with today throughout the podcast.
Okay.
But no, Millie, you are head of marketing at Ocean Bottle. We've got a lot to catch up on. And just to say, we're both B Corp, so we're really good people for the planet and just generally in our day-to-day lives. There's quite an interesting history and your values as well.
Yeah, definitely. So Ocean Bottle is a reusable bottle company. So this is one of our bottles.
We've got some with us. If you're listening, you won't see them, obviously.
Okay.
But we've got a range on the table in front of us.
Do a little ASMR tap. But we make award-winning reusable bottles and flasks. And our big focus is ocean health and ocean plastic. So for every product we sell, we collect the equivalent of 1,000 plastic bottles that are bound for the ocean. So
Are they in the product?
so basically the base plate has some of the collected plastic in there, which is quite cool. But due to different regulations, there's a certain amount of recycled materials, but we basically push the highest standard possible. So we do have recycled stainless steel, as well as the recycled base plate as well. But the plastic we collect, actually, none of it goes to landfill, and very much focused around social mobility, supporting projects. So we focus on areas where there's barely any kind of formal waste infrastructure. So areas like India, Philippines, Indonesia, and we fund local projects all within 50 kilometres of the ocean, and generally focus on supporting kind of collection of low value plastics. So plastic bottles we kind of use as a tangible measure, but it actually adds up to
There's a variety of plastics.
It is, yeah. So it's 11.4 kilos in total per bottle that we sell. And that is generally made up of kind of soft plastics, low value, that generally formally don't have a kind of a waste supply chain.
Right.
So what we do is we work with collectors, we set up projects, we work with partners, and all of that goes on to live another life. So whether that's going back into products, or the products or the plastics that can't be recycled actually then goes into additional products like bricks for buildings, playgrounds, etc. as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So where can people get, just before we get into more about influence marketing?
Yes.
These are available in the UK. Where can people buy them?
They are. So our website, oceanbottle.co, is the best place to get kind of any information on Ocean Bottle. Definitely follow us on social, sign up to our email list.
Is that just at Ocean Bottle?
Yeah, at Ocean Bottle.
On key platforms?
Yes. But we are also really proud to partner with a huge amount. We've got a really interesting channel mix. So we partner with corporates. So anyone that's interested in client gifting, employee gifting, please get in touch with us. We've partnered with over 2,000 companies to date.
Wow.
And every bottle that we do sell funds that collection of plastic. So you can make your employee gifts or your event gifts far more sustainable. But we are also starting to expand into retail, which is super exciting.
Amazing.
So few stockists in the UK. And then in the US, we've actually just launched in Nordstrom.
Okay.
Super exciting. And REI, which is a big outdoor retailer, really values driven, really care about sustainability and the environment. So I think we've launched in over 100 stores, which is super exciting. So stay tuned. Lots more growth to come.
And you've only been going since 2019.
Yeah, so we just turned 6.
Big strides, 6 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot of progress. And actually, you said 1,000 plastic bottles, and I think that's a really useful way of like quantifying what that looks like. But I've also got, I don't know if this is right, you can fact check it here.
Yeah.
That's 11.4 kilos of plastic.
Yes.
And think about how light a plastic bottle is.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So some of our team went to some of our collection sites earlier this year over in India. We got a bunch of pictures just to learn. It was really interesting as a team to learn a bit more about how it actually works, where they get the plastic from, what they do with it, where it goes. But some of the pictures, one of our team standing alongside the equivalent of 1,000 plastic bottles was honestly bigger than her almost. It was crazy. So yeah, 11.4 kilos for every product.
When you see the tangible effect of the initiatives that you're leading in terms of reducing ocean plastic, and then from our side and offsetting carbon emissions and things like that, it's huge. And I think you don't often see, it's out of sight, out of mind, but when you see what 1,000 plastic bottles looks like or other equivalent of plastic waste, it's absolutely phenomenal. And especially when we see it's so prevalent in the news as well, how much plastic is making it not just to landfill, but also to the ocean.
Yeah,
it's heartbreaking. We feel powerless to stop it.
Yeah, I think it's estimated 14 million tonnes a year go into the ocean.
So if we had 14 million ocean bottles sold.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
So when it comes to working with creators, I imagine you're quite selective about who you work with. Is it as much about selling the mission and finding them aligning with that, as well as selling the product? What comes through first? Brand and mission and then product? Or how do you navigate that?
Yeah, it is really interesting, and I think more tricky for a mission-driven brand, because I guess for us, with product comes impact, and then with impact, product is there as well. So I guess we try and embed that product equals impact into everything we do, whether that's internally, but also working with influencers and creators. I think absolutely we look for values-aligned partnerships. So I think a key thing for us is we would prefer to work with someone over a longer period of time, that it truly integrates into their life. Yeah. Our products are something that you use every day and they're designed to be used daily. So what we don't want is someone just doing a short-term partnership with us and say that it aligns to their mission, and then next week we see a competitor product and the week after a different competitor. Yeah. So that's
authenticity there.
Yeah, authenticity. I think it comes up probably with every influencer conversation.
We call it the A word. Yeah. It feels like the most used buzzword ever, but
it's so true though.
It's true and it matters.
Yeah. So that's probably the first thing. We are fortunate. We've got so many kind of values aligned creators and influencers that want to work with us. We do try and be super selective. And I think we are also mindful of budgets as a small scaling brand. Sure. Every marketing dollar or pound counts. So we need to make sure that we're really clear on what we're trying to get out of the partnership, but also they're really clear. So I think a few key things is we want them to genuinely love the product. So we're really proud of what we've got. It integrates into daily life, but if it's not the right product for them, we wouldn't want them to be promoting it. But there's been a couple of really interesting ones. Like we've got the 3-in-1 products. Basically, our bottle can also fit the coffee cup lid. So the ones that you've got there, you can actually interchange the coffee lid on the body of the bottle. So last year we introduced a 3-in-1 gift box, essentially, and we found mums are absolutely loving them because they can take one product out, grab their coffee, switch out for a water, and we've had a couple of like mumfluencers do some incredible content that I honestly wouldn't have thought.
Was that earned content or paid for content?
A bit of both. Okay. Some of it we did seek partnerships, and others was kind of more earned UGC style content. And that was a really good example where it fit into their life. It genuinely improved their daily life, but also they could talk about the mission in a really authentic or a really genuine way.
Please don't feel worried about saying the words. It is important that we say it because I think obviously that is the crux of what we do.
Yeah.
But you said as a scaling startup, influencers becoming, I guess, more and more important because it's a form of social proofing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Are you seeing spend on influencer growing each year, or is it a battle internally in terms of like where the budgets go? I think we just saw Unilever's committing I think around another 20% of its budget. Don't quote me on that number. I don't know what it was, but on influencer, the amount they're spending on influencers growing globally. Is that something you're seeing as a smaller brand?
I think last year as I joined, we did have quite a lot of budget set aside for influencers. But what I found is that the team, we didn't have a strategy for it.
Right.
So what I actually did was we divided that into couple kind of community and commercial. So commercial has a slightly more kind of ROI target attached to it, and they're kind of probably larger scale, more macro influencers that are within a specific niche that we want to target, and of course really aligned to our values. And then the community influencers were more focused on sort of micro in specific communities that we want to kind of tap into, generally smaller audiences but more engaged. So I guess that was my first step, is to look at that strategy, like where we want to divide the budget, and they have different targets associated with them. But for us, generally we are looking to increase, but also a big focus this year is our organic social and I guess more earned strategy. I feel like we're kind of at a point now we can really settle in and really try and scale that community. We've got some incredible kind of OV users around the world, but I think we haven't really harnessed that. So that's like, I guess one of my big focuses this year.
Sure. So do you see influencer as a way of driving that community on your own socials as well?
Yes, probably more on a UGC perspective. So more, I guess, content creator, but also, I guess, championing our community as well. But definitely influencers to reach the right new audiences, and a big.
They're already engaging around themes and values that you're aligned with as well. So it's working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think as a growing brand, we want to reach audiences that we're not reaching already. So that's where I see huge value in influencers and partnerships. And then the other big one for us is the US. So big focus right now for us, and
especially with Nordstrom.
Yeah, and Nordstrom and REI, which is super exciting. So we want to continue growing that awareness there, but I think influencers are probably the best way to do that, because it's third party proof. So it's a credible voice, trusted voice, and we, not being from the US, we don't really fully understand the audiences, what content they consume, what media they're kind of loving and not loving. So I think it's a way for us to tap into that and work with the trusted voices.
Yeah, definitely. I think you touched on a point earlier around obviously finding the right influencers. And I think a lot of brands have particular filters or frameworks around selecting talent. So I guess as a scaling brand, how have you had to evolve that? Have you been too particular in the past and have learnt from that experience? Because I think oftentimes when we're working with brands, they'll say, we need this creator that talks about this topic, has this hair type and does X, Y, and Z. And we're actually, we're limited by who actually exists on these platforms. Is that something that you've had to go through the motions of understanding as well?
Yes, and I think a bit of education upwards as well to non-marketing senior teams, just about how this world works. So I think we've all probably, anyone that has managed influencer strategy knows that you don't want to be too prescriptive, because you're never going to get the best out of the influencer or the best for your brand. And I think we learned that even last year at Ocean Bottle. We had some campaigns that we wanted to run sort of some integrated influencer activity with, and I think we maybe slightly overbriefed, and then the creators, although we had a really quite broad strategy, they fit in with our campaign rather than kind of the other way around. And then we kind of tailored that a little bit. I wouldn't say we got poor results, but it was a bit
too restrictive.
Yeah, and it felt like their engagement was slightly lower than what we were anticipating versus their normal content, which makes total sense because their audiences engage with them for a reason. So then we pivoted that a little bit, and we started to kind of shift it the other way, identify creators we want to work with that fit our brand values, that fit our brand message that we ultimately want to convey. And one of them was a brilliant creator. She's quite a larger macro influencer, but she has a hiking series that she goes around, hikes from London. She's quite natural. So we integrated with one of those series, and her audience loved that already. It was a really nice way for us to feature the Ocean Bottle products, but in a really natural way.
Yeah, so I think you've definitely seen from your side, because we talk about how long we've both been in the space.
Yeah.
There's massive brands that don't get that journey. They're like, well, why is the engagement down? Well, you forced them to make a video that didn't sit on their channels, and they didn't speak authentically to their audience.
And it also comes out, I think you can, especially if following creators that just consuming the content as I guess an individual as well, you can see when they're doing brand deals that they don't truly believe in, or maybe they've been a bit too forced or edited. And that to me just is a big no-go as both a brand marketer, but also as an individual. You don't want to be consuming that content that feels forced.
Yeah. So, I think actually watching and consuming content from content creators is so important. And I think there's been so many times in my side, agency side, where you're speaking to someone that is either not the target audience for the type of influencers they want to work with, and they don't quote get it. And then that feedback's not truly objective, and it's all, well, I wouldn't buy from this person. And I'm not asking if you'd buy from this person. The data shows us, and the insights we've got over years of doing this is that this is the direction you need to go in.
Yeah.
And to your point on mum vloggers and parenting creators, so one of our clients is Hasbro, so a lot of their brands like Peppa Pig and Play-Doh are obviously targeted towards parents as well. So there's so many learnings that we've had over the years around how to engage parents. But it's not one size fits all, and it's definitely platform nuanced as well, which a lot of, like you said, educating upwards, a lot of people aren't immersed in this space, won't understand the difference between a TikTok and a reel.
Yes.
Or a YouTube short and a long form video.
Yep.
Which is always a fun challenge.
Oh yeah, that is so true. And actually, I didn't even quite touch on that. The other piece of the education is it's not all about short term. And I know marketers in the room will get that, but I think that's where when I joined, I had to do that kind of twofold strategy where we had the macro, which did have an ROI attached to it, which is a little bit more short-term performance based, but with still a goal of brand awareness, reach, views. But then our community do not have an ROI attached to them in the short term. We do still kind of actually see some really good results from them, and we can understand that over time, kind of the trend and the impact that they have. But that's probably the biggest shift that I've had to do as a senior marketer in businesses is to educate. It's not just about the short term, not just in influencer marketing. This is in general brand, but it's really important when you are paying creators and influencers. Sometimes there is an expectation that it will drive immediate results, but not everybody is in market to buy straight away, but it's the seeds that you sow that will pay off longer term. So.
That was so beautiful, so poetic.
Can you tell I've said this before?
Yeah. Did you write that down and read it off notes? On the way in, I actually I was scrolling LinkedIn as you do. Nothing gets me pumped more than scrolling LinkedIn and getting triggered on the way in.
Is it your favourite platform?
I go on it, sometimes reluctantly. And I don't know about you, but one thing that really gets me is viewing influencers as a media buy, as if you're partnering with them just for the numbers. And when you see quite senior marketers taking to LinkedIn to say, well, we won't work with this person again because the CPM was X. We are not stuck in 2018, 2020, where all we're doing is measuring influence campaigns by CPM and vanity metrics. And it gets me so much when people are speaking on LinkedIn from positions of authority saying, this is how you measure success of an influencer campaign. So as a purpose-led brand, I imagine, and I don't know what your key measurements of success are, measures of success are, but I think it really annoys me when influencers are just relegated to being vanity metrics and views. Our position is we're really trying to pioneer a lot around brand lift studies and showing behavioural change and actually how we're impacting consumers, because a lot of our campaigns, they're not just pushing product, it's all around spontaneous recall or how do they feel, perhaps it's a low consideration category and we're trying to drive brand saliency year round. How are we showing that? So how do you feel when someone says, well, the CPM was poor? I feel like they're missing 90% of the picture and the opportunity there as well.
100%. I've got many thoughts on
this.
Go
on, go for it. I've set you up and hopefully I've triggered you.
No, in a good way. I think on the CPM piece and the measure, that is such a short, it's a vanity metric, as you say. And I guess I've worked within larger media buys for quite some time, especially in prior roles. And it's not about quantity, it's about quality.
It's a useful benchmark, I guess.
It's not always apples versus apples. So I think what you talked about, the brand uplift, saliency, that is all super important. So that's very much, I look at any marketing activity, but influencers is a key part of this as an integrated approach. So what's our goal for each channel? And maybe within the channel even, what are the different kind of journeys we're trying to send people through? So you've got your general awareness, so you might be using a macro influencer for pure awareness. In that case, you might measure a little bit more on reach and views, versus someone else you might be looking for mid-funnel or consideration, as you say, which is then very much about view-through rate. So you want them to actually engage with it. Is that content landing? And then moving on from that, of course, performance is then measured at a lower funnel purchase or return on investment. Outside of CPM and reach, there's so much more about that long-term piece. So we've had one of our influencers actually, and we've had a lot of success on YouTube. So I would say this is also changing the game. I guess for us as a growing
short form
brand,
or long form on YouTube?
Longer form, I would say. So not on short. So on kind of main platform. But I think what we're finding, the YouTube creators are more selective because they do have a separate income source. They are smarter with who they work with. They work with less brands, but there's so many incredible niches, and obviously the search function of YouTube is incredible. So we've worked with some creators there that are delivering us longer term views, longer term kind of value. So we do see this burst when they first go out with the content, but because of the nature that people consume content on YouTube, you're continuing to see drips of
weeks, months after.
Yeah. But one particular creator, and this has helped, I think, shift the narrative internally as well for us. His name's Ed Pratt. He is a brilliant campaigner, advocate, so very much values driven. We did know of him, and quite a few of us were big fans of his work. Sure. He had done a couple of campaigns and challenges really focused on kind of plastic pollution and general pollution as well. So he was doing a source to sea expedition, so basically documenting his journey from the source of the Thames all the way through.
I recall this.
Have you seen his work?
Yeah.
He's grown a massive following. He already had a really strong community. We started chatting with him because he started highlighting the plastic on the Thames, the pollution,
the waste that's in the water.
And he was measuring water quality as well. And we thought, let's see if we can do something with him. He obviously would benefit from our products as well. And on his expedition, we managed to navigate with him where he was going to be that evening and a same-day courier to get some product to him.
Somewhere on the Thames.
Yeah, on the way in. And now we've gone on to do multiple partnerships with him.
Amazing.
And this year, so it was, I think, the third time, which again shows the value of working with someone over a longer period of time. When his YouTube content went out, there was such a noticeable uplift on our web traffic.
Really?
But what has been fascinating is the amount of unprompted awareness that it's driven. So I was randomly, one of my Aussie friends was moving back to Australia at a going away party for her, introduced people, Millie, had a marketing, ocean bottle, and unprompted people, well, I guess it would be prompted, but people then said, oh, ocean bottle, oh, I've seen you on Ed Pratt. Yeah. And so I think it's that broader piece of influencer marketing and working with the right creators in your space that have the right level of influence that can have that longer term effect. And it's so much more than short term sales.
Yeah, it warms my heart when you talk about YouTube, because I think what I've seen agency side, what I've seen probably over the past 3 years is that I say 90% of campaigns have shifted to TikTok and Instagram.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Whereas when I joined the agency and my client service director, Joe, we're both from old school YouTube days. So we were like, it's YouTube's the win, YouTube is king. But what you do see, and it's to your point, is that YouTube creators tend to dominate the other platforms as well. Because their audiences follow them.
Yeah, he's got followers on other platforms. Yeah.
And that community, they basically consolidate on YouTube. Yeah. So when you see a TikTok creator get so popular, they try and grow a YouTube channel, because that long form content encourages community, really drives consideration, but also helps them feel more connected. And to your point, particularly with a brand with purpose, long form content gives you that platform to really convey your message, as opposed to being like, here's a product and it's 10,000 plastic bottles. Oh, quick. And, and jumping into like a 30-second reel. Yeah. Where that's they are effective for sure.
But it's not as natural. It's not going to be recalled as easily. And I guess for our product, we talk of any mission-driven product, but for us, we talk about this is the only bottle you'll ever need, and we want people to buy right and buy to last. They have a 10-year warranty. We do spare parts for life. I'll keep selling the product.
I love it. I feel so immersed in brand.
We don't want people to buy 10 of them, so we don't want an influencer showing 10 different colors or a different color a day. But so these short clips, I think they work when they're part of a series. Yeah. Or if it's something
like a longer term partnership, like you said earlier.
Yeah, I'd much prefer that. I'd much prefer them actually using it like almost organically in their day. Potentially there is a paid partnership behind it, and that might be to help navigate exclusivity or something along those lines. But if it naturally is part of their day, they're going to genuinely talk about it. And actually another one of our ambassadors and partners that we love is Josie from Josie London is her account, fashion mumbler she was known for. So also YouTube, but is also on Instagram. And she's a brilliant example. We do work with her over a longer period of time.
And cross-platform as well.
Yes. But because she truly loves the product, it fits in with her life. We get a lot of kind of organic mentions from her, which we love. Yeah. And we'll always
and just casual inclusions in content as well, which I think brands often forget. And to your point, when it comes to like reporting on campaigns, it often does YouTube a disservice. Or actually, TikTok is moving towards this more longer form piece as well, where you look at, okay, it's been 30 days since the last piece of content go out. Let's get that PCA done. And it's actually, well, should we just check in quarterly? Because that YouTube content could be evergreen. It could get a spike 6-7 months afterwards.
Exactly.
One other thing that I saw this morning as well, on my way in when I was getting stressed out on LinkedIn, was the same sort of people talking about, you said it nicely as well, it's not about volume, it's about quality, where they're still operating in a way where they're working with hundreds of creators a month. If they don't hit benchmarks, they'll take them from their platform.
They're like program.
Yeah, the program, that's the word I was looking for. You saved me struggling there. And they'll just move them into like seeding. It'll be like, okay, we'll partner with these because they didn't hit CPA targets. That doesn't allow you to unlock the magic that you've done with Ed, for example, where you found someone that so clearly aligns with your brand values. Yeah. You're going to go out of your way to build that partnership with him to the point where it's so effective, people are bringing it up at parties. I mean, know. They mentioned you were head of marketing at Ocean Bottle, but still, I'd say that's unprompted.
Yeah.
I think that's the magic of influencer, where it's built on the shoulders of really creative, cool people.
Yeah.
And brands and agencies have often tried to like platformatize that, make it a really automated, heartless process.
Yes, yeah.
But when it comes to briefing talent, I imagine that is really important to you because you've got so much you need to convey in that content.
Yeah.
And doing it in that other way of just churn and earn just removes all magic, anything special about the process, and just makes it a really dehumanized thing.
And I guess we work really hard to get human as one of our kind of creative principles as the brand, or
be
within
human.
Our brand. Yeah, just human. So we want to add human stories. We want to convey emotion. We want to humanize our brand. We don't want to talk like a brand. We want to talk, we want to meet people where they are without sounding too evangelical and all that sort of stuff. But for us, our briefing is quite personal. We definitely don't kind of do any large scale platforms, anything like that. We'd much prefer to work with. We work to try and make sure we don't have a bias, because I think the nature of social media is that it's kind of a bit of an echo chamber. Yeah. So we work really hard to take that step back. So I think that's really important. Actually, something you said earlier about they're not the customer. That's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, the unconscious bias you have.
Yes, and I think it's my old school. I actually did marketing at uni well before social media was a thing. Yeah.
What social media?
It honestly was like, I think the tiniest section of one of my digital marketing, like.
And there's a platform called Facebook.
Yeah, anyway. It actually, I think because I finished in 2010, so Facebook had only just started.
Right.
There was no such thing as like paid marketing on there. So I think it's my
simpler times.
Yeah, I know, so much easier.
Can you imagine running marketing now about social media?
I know.
I'd be out of a job, actually, so let's not do that.
But a big thing there is you're not the customer. Sorry, let me
drink from your Ocean Bottle.
Yeah.
I think that's true, though, but when you're not a customer, and like on previous podcasts as well, we've said about how we have to, say we spoke about mum vloggers, but imagine as part of that process, you've also looked at same-sex couples and dads and stay-at-home dads, because I think 100%. We put that unconscious bias over the strategy, and often we have to have internal checks to make sure we're challenging. Actually, you've just got a nuclear family there. What about single parents, or those with adopted kids and things like that? Because it's not one size fits all, like we said. Yeah, that is so true. And I think that's the beauty of working with creators, that you can work with such a broad range of people, and I feel like it's made marketing a lot more accessible. Yeah. Especially to brands that don't have huge budgets. We don't have the benefit of being able to do these big casting calls with big talent agencies, but we can now reach out to such a widespread group of people and reach lots of different views and perspectives, and be quite targeted as well. With, I know we said about that specific filter, but actually when you're working in a more nimble way, you can target the Eds of the world, or people that are, maybe the vertical is hikers, and they don't probably get many partnerships, I imagine. I won't say that. I imagine like North Face.
I did used to work in the outdoor world, so.
Oh, did you? Yeah, well, there we go. So there's probably loads of partnerships flying around. And one final point I liked that you said earlier, which we haven't touched on, is how about YouTube creators, because I feel like you've opened up the can of worms there. I love that. I think YouTube's stat was they paid something like, again, I need to check this could be wrong. Everyone was talking about TikTok's creator fund, which was like 250 million.
Oh, yeah.
I think YouTube paid media partners and creators 10 billion over the 4 years from, I think, 2018 to 2022. The money could be wrong, the date could be wrong, but what I'm trying to say is
they're investing in
YouTube
creators,
invest in creators.
Yeah.
So to your point, YouTube creators are often so selective about the brands they work with because they can be, because they've got AdSense, they don't need to worry about that, the platform supporting them. That's when you get that higher quality return, because the creators are really believing in the brand.
Yep.
Is that something you've said you've experienced then?
100%. And I think we saw that not just with Ed, with some of our other creators as well. I think they're far more savvy as well to partnerships. So they know how to include a partnership. And I think for us, transparency is really important. Obviously for CMA and all the guidance, transparency is key as well. But I think that's when audiences are more likely to engage, when it's really clearly kind of defined as an ad, but I think what I'm fine with YouTube creators is that they explain why they're working with a brand and why they're working with our brand, which is, I think, less commonplace, I would probably say, on the like Instagrams and TikToks of the world. They almost just say hashtag ad.
Hashtag ad, straight
and
into it.
They generally would never say why they're working with a brand, because I think it's every second post almost for them. Whereas on YouTube, it's once every so often.
Yeah, I think YouTube creators, particularly in my time back in the day, it was like, you almost felt like you had to apologise for doing a branded piece of work. But obviously now it's changed. It's very much get that bag, but it's like...
And they own it though.
Yeah,
I think that's
they
what we
own
found.
the story, they own the narrative around it. Storytelling.
Yes.
That's the word I was looking for earlier, and it's just come to me.
Yes.
All about storytelling.
Oh, we love stories.
And authenticity.
Authentic storytelling.
Authentic storytelling. Yeah. Millie, we have a really fun segment that I think you are going to be so excited for, called our lie detector test.
Okay.
Lie standing for LinkedIn. We put all of... I make the same joke every time. We put all our budget on our lie detector leaderboard.
I love I've got appreciation for your font.
Thank you. It's like Comic Sans, but not, and also...
Kind of offensive, but, kind of humorous.
Kind of gross.
Yeah.
For people listening, you won't see this, but the leaderboard consists of the LinkedIn logo and the word detector written in a really wacky font. So we've had 4 people do it, including myself.
Oh, nice. Are you at the bottom?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't need to call that out.
Sorry.
But it's fine.
Just for those, those at home.
Anyway, for those at home, the leaderboard consists of India from True Start Coffee at 14, Layla from Very Group at 11, Alex Payne from The Influence Room at 10, and myself, Sammy, at 7. Maybe I'm just not obsessed with myself. We'll find out if you are, though, Millie.
Oh, dear.
We're going to do our lie detector, and then we'll see what you get. We've got 15 questions coming your way.
Okay.
These are going to be rapid fire.
Okay.
They're not very exciting.
Is LinkedIn ever? No, sometimes it can be exciting.
Is it ever?
I think it's turning. Do you know what I've been thinking about, now I've just said this, like LinkedIn creators, that's something I've not tapped into. So
Same. We did pitch it once, but then I think it was about 2 years ago and people were like, oh,
I feel like it's a thing now. There are a lot of brilliant personal brands out there. So
speaking of which, people can find you on LinkedIn at Millie Allen.
Millie Allen.
Millie Allen. Cool. So we've got 15 questions. I'm going to fire through them. We can stop and have a chat about each one if you like. But hopefully,
I'm a bit scared.
Yeah. What's your LinkedIn headline?
Oh, head of marketing at Ocean Bottle.
Correct.
Oh, and top 25 marketer to follow of 2025.
Correct. Are you verified?
No. I
didn't know that was a thing until we started this. So
I don't even. I've seen it, but I haven't actually bothered.
I think you have to scan your passport or something.
Oh gosh.
And I'm like, who's getting that data?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it on encrypted channel? I don't know. What is your first workplace on your profile?
Oh, is it Clinique?
It is, correct. Can you name 3 skills on your profile?
Oh, 3.
Trick question, because you've got 57 listed on your profile.
Look, I'm highly skilled. No,
yeah, I'm great.
Oh gosh, I've really, I guess, accumulated the skills over the years. I'm going to take a wild stab and say marketing strategy is one of them.
Yep.
Influencer marketing is one on there.
Yeah, we'll say yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'll just take your word for it because there's 57 on there. So,
gosh, and we'll say budgets, marketing budgets.
Yeah.
Which is a skill that it's not my favourite, but absolutely crucial.
We love a budget.
Have to love a budget.
We love a budget controller.
We love finance.
We love finance, especially if you're listening, finance directors. I had social media strategy, brand and identity marketing, sustainability marketing, and advertising. How many workplaces do you have on your profile?
I'm going to say 6.
I've got 13 listed here.
Oh my God, really? Are they?
She moves around.
Are they workplaces or jobs?
I imagine it would probably be jobs.
Okay.
So workplaces maybe 6. Does that sound more right?
Potentially, maybe more. I'm trying to think.
I'm going to give you that one.
I'm meant to be quick fire. So
Sorry.
No, I'm trying to add up in my head, but I didn't want to. You need some
hurry
Jeopardy,
up, Sammy.
Jeopardy music or something.
Yeah, we need a nice intimidating
thinking.
countdown timer, like. When did you last post on LinkedIn?
Friday.
4 days ago, correct?
Yes, because I went to an event and I was recapping the event.
Yeah. Building up that brand for yourself on LinkedIn.
Yes.
How long have you been in your current role?
1 year exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Where was your longest term of employment?
I will say GHD Hair.
Correct.
Yes, I was there almost 6 years.
Very different space to Ocean Bottle.
Incredibly different. And then I also had a stint in the cycling industry.
Okay.
And then the outdoor industry as well.
And Clinique.
And Clinique, I did, it's not on my profile, but I deferred uni and I did beauty therapy.
Amazing.
Yeah, just a bit of a random
love
fun
that.
fact.
I haven't done anything like that with my life.
But you were a YouTube creator, so that's quite cool.
Who's really winning, though? Name the LinkedIn newsletter you were subscribed to.
Didn't even know I was subscribed to it. Is it from is there something about IP, brands and IP or fashion IP?
No, that's not what I've got.
No? What is it?
From City to Sea?
Oh, City to Sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we...
You were going to say that next.
Yes, definitely. Yes, we have a partnership with them.
How many followers does Ocean Bottle have on your page?
I want to say 20,000.
I've got 19k here.
Oh, well, we'll round out.
We'll round it up.
Yeah, it'll be 20,000 by the end of the month.
What is Ocean Bottle's headline?
I feel like I really should know that.
You probably wrote it.
I probably did. I would say social impact brand first, reusable bottle company second.
No.
Oh, no.
Do you want me to give you it?
Yeah.
Turning our plastic problem into a force for good.
Oh, okay. We went for a big brand statement. I love that.
And then award-winning ocean impact reusable bottles.
Okay.
It says you achieve a lot of those 2 sentences. How many volunteer roles do you have on your page?
Oh, 3.
Correct. And where did these take place?
They were all in Brisbane, where I will remind you I am from Australia.
Yeah. When you say Australia, you sound Australian.
Australia. There we go. But they were 2 of them were at RSPCA, and then there was also Great Dane Rescue.
Great Dane Rescue.
Yeah.
Are there lots of Great Danes that need rescue?
There
in Australia?
actually are, and what do you say? Size does matter was our tagline.
Right.
Yeah.
I see that. I mean, one time, little caveat, I was round a friend's house and someone's Great Dane down the road had escaped and run in the back garden. I went, oh my God, it's a horse. They're absolutely enormous.
They are. I used to
Gentle giants,
look
though.
after one that was almost 90 kilos. It was like 85 kilos.
Whoa.
It was insane. It's
bigger than most humans.
Sweet dogs.
They're very gentle. I saw it out the periphery of my eye. I actually didn't think it was a Shetland pony. I just thought it was like a really big
they're
animal.
Actually heavier than some.
Are they?
Oh, maybe not fully grown Shetland ponies, but there was one at RSPCA shelter that was bigger than a pony.
Saddle up.
Yeah, crazy.
You have 3 companies on your work placement list that relate to one sport. Can you name that sport?
I'm going to say cycling.
Correct. And then final questions. What was your mini MBA in?
In marketing.
Correct. I'm pleased to tell you that you have a grand total of 13.
I'll take 13.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're going to put you on the leaderboard. How did you find that? Was that probably the highlight of your working week, or?
That was brilliant. I can't believe that I got the ocean bottle question wrong.
Being as you most definitely wrote that as well.
Yeah.
That puts you second on the leaderboard.
Nice.
I'm going to try and move this down.
Oh, it's going to get a bit.
Do you want to put it on there?
Oh, sure.
I'll hold it up.
Oh, I'm going to smudge it.
There we go.
Nice.
That was. Thank you so much for taking part in that.
Thank you.
A
that
lot
was
of
really
work
fun.
goes into the lie detector test,
I can.
think.
Yeah. That would have been a lot of deep diving on LinkedIn.
I imagine the person that did it knows an awful lot about you in a scary way now.
Yes.
So-
Yeah. And now everyone else does too. So
Yeah.
more than I do.
They know you better than you know yourself. Thank you so much for joining us today, Millie. I've really enjoyed this chat. We've covered everything from our gripes about people measuring impact of influencer campaigns as if they're stuck in 2018. We've covered everything from finding the right creators that really align with your brand, and this whole churn and earn model feels a bit dated, and it really gets rid of the magic of influencer marketing. Yeah. We said authenticity a lot.
We did. And storytelling.
Storytelling right at the end, when we should have bought that sooner, I think. And a few other places we went. But it's been a really enjoyable conversation. Hopefully we'll have you back again sometime.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to come back.
I'd love to come back. And if anyone wants to find you, they can find you on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Any other platforms that you're... and also Ocean Bottle.
Ocean Bottle. I definitely would say follow Ocean Bottle, so at Ocean Bottle on all the platforms. We're mainly focusing on Instagram and LinkedIn, so I would focus there first. Okay. And you can also follow us on YouTube.
Perfect.
And then, probably my LinkedIn would be best, so Millie Allen, Millie with an IE.
Thank you again for listening. If you've been watching on YouTube, please make sure you press subscribe and heckle us in the comments around all of your good practices when it comes to looking after the planet. And if you're listening on a podcasting platform, please can you make sure that you leave a review. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.